Planning permission has been submitted for Buxton's £100 million redevelopment project. As this is what we could see as the final product, I'm going to give a full breakdown on every building, interior and green space that we can expect if planning permission is granted. There is a lot to cover on site, and so to make it easier for ourselves, we're going to do it from east to west, so we're not popping all over the place. And that means we're starting with this tiny little car park. This building is referred to in plans as Block 6, and well, there's not much you can fit in this space, but it will be home to 5 terrace houses, 4 of which having garages, with just the one closest to the river having a room for the bins instead. Rather impressively, these are 2-bath 4-bed homes spanning 4 floors, with each having identical layouts. The exterior is a design that is repeated across the site, modern slim windows, gable roofs and large dormers. These units, with them being at the front of the development, will feature permanent branding on the side. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the developer, Capital Centric, operate a bit differently than most, and they will retain all residential units across the site and rent them out themselves, meaning they have an invested interest in keeping the properties at their best, and so are not afraid to have their name plastered on the side of buildings. Take it as a sign of confidence. And I don't believe these signs will be illuminated in any way. Moving slightly west, we reach New Y Street, which is going to have a huge makeover, reducing its width closer to just one lane, and having loading bays built into the side of it where the new commercial units are going to go. Further down where it meets Y Street, all of that is going to be pedestrianised, and there'll be a pedestrianised hump crossing, so if things have to make deliveries, it's more obvious that that is a pedestrian right-of-way. Moving into the main car park now, there'll be a new building that stretches all the way across New Y Street and all the way alongside Station Road. This is the largest building in the project, known as Block 4. The first section of the building to look at is along New Y Street. The ground floor section here is separated from the rest of the structure to allow for a large walkway underneath the upper floors. There is a large colonnade around this section, allowing for shade and respite from our wet weather. From the new Y Street side, there will be a new electrical substations built into the structure, and one large wraparound commercial unit taking us around into the centre of a new public realm. And I'll talk more about this after the block. The commercial unit's door will be facing this new public area, along with a stair and lift well for the upper floors, and a second commercial unit. Under that covered walkway, there'll also be a door for a room for bins, unsure if that's commercial or residential use. Across from that walkway, on the other section of the building from the public realm side, there is space for multiple commercial units, but are not physically separated by walls, meaning retailers can take as much or as little space as they require. There is access again to another stair and lift well from that covered walkway, and once more at the top of the structure facing the public area. Along with this, there is a room for bicycle parking and another bin room. Now, from the corner of Y Street and Station Road, there is the main entrance to the residential units within this building. And on the ground floor, most of the residential units face out over Station Road, with 2 facing Waitrose. On the ground floor, there is 1 1-bed, 7 2-bed dwellings. Following this, the first floor has 2 3-bed, 17 2-bed, and 8 1-bed dwellings. The second floor has the same, and the third we see a terrace appear above the side that we first talked about. So here we have 1 3-bed, 15 2-bed, and 8 1-bed dwellings, which is nearly repeated for the top floor, with the exception of a 2-bed swapping into a 1. So in total, this building will have 110 units, and 192 beds, if I counted correctly. The exterior, as I said before, is very similar in style to the previous block. Huge dormers, this time spanning 2 floors, balconies on the first, all very uniform, and I believe, although not specified, all these buildings will be using some form of limestone or limestone-like material for the yellowy bits, and then the red roofs are just black metal cladding, highlighted in these profiles as red. There is a slight design difference on the new Y Street side section, as it includes that terrace part, so the large roof gives way for a flat face with a mixture of window units with cladding in between and window balconies separated by a stone fascia. Block 4 was a little complicated to explain, so hopefully you're still with me. But next is this public realm, which will be right in the heart of what is the concrete car park right now. Most of this is self-explanatory, with green spaces, pathways and the River Wye opened up as promised, with steps down near the river level, and a bridge over the top. Alongside Waitrose, there are all these doors and technical bits that need to stay in place and also stay at this level. So what's been done is a retaining wall will be put somewhere along here and a mesh fence on top. It looks like on the plans that they put some bushes and all sorts, etc., sort of blending it in, and well, overall it's going to make this very bland wall just hide a little bit better. So with the new green space out of the way, there's only one more building left to cover on the eastern side, and that's here. It will sit on the old site of the M&S car park, known as Block 7. Along the ground floor is one large commercial space that I'd assume can also be broken up into many units like the last. The usual cycle park, bin room, stair and lift well, building services all on the ground floor closest to the old M&S building. There is also an overhang on this building, on the river and the Y Street side, again for shade and cover. There are further 4 more floors, all of which identical, with 7 one-bed, 2 two-bed dwellings, making 36 units and 44 beds. Now don't be alarmed, this building really isn't red on the outside. This is one of the 2 buildings on site that are clad in a copper-like metal cladding, to represent the Duke of Devonshire, of whom built a lot of Buxton's icons and made his riches in copper. The building also features a roof style reminiscent of the industrial buildings that used to be nearby. Must also mention the 2 beds on the eastern side also have private terraces or large balconies. Right, Block 7 was a lot easier to explain. We're now on to Block 3, which also means we need to talk about car parking. As Block 3 will be home to the new entrance for the development's multi-storey car park. Just in case you don't quite understand where I am, that's the loading bay for Waitrose, and literally opposite the road to me is the junction entrance for McDonald's, or the old Aldi. So basically it would become a 4-way junction here. I'll explain the building first because that's easier. It will be built onto a little space between the road and Waitrose's loading bay. Most of the ground floor is taken up by the car park's entrance, but it will also include a room for the eastern side labelled as residential amenity, and on the west, you get the gist, stairwells, cycles, etc. The next 3 floors are identical, with 9 one-bed, 1 two-bed on each floor, making 30 units and 33 beds. Design on the outside repeats what we're used to by now. So, that car park, 2 floors where you enter on the lowest, of which will have 134 spaces and a 5% provision of disabled parking, with 12 shown. This new multi-storey car park will basically be level with the delivery road as it is now. So if you were coming with your shopping from Waitrose, you scoot out of this door and then straight into the car park. And speaking of, there are plenty of trolley parking spaces built into the car park itself. The upper floor of the car park has 126 spaces, so in total there'll be 260 spaces, which, yes, is shy of the 422 currently on site. So, there is a plan for that. We are roughly 200 spaces short, and so the council have acquired this piece of land off DB. Used to be the old engine sheds right next to the station, and they say that you can fit 200 parking spaces in it, which is perfect. Now, this does mean that those 200 spaces are going to be fractured from the rest of them, so if you've got a trolley full of shopping from Waitrose, that's probably not really going to happen. Although, and I'll mention it later, there will be a lift in the development. That means access from this car park will be step-free. And Capital Centric claim that only 50% of their residents will use or own a car. Anyway, moving away from parking, and since we're approaching from the station side, let's look down here. And one of the buildings we'll approach is Block 2, just here on our left. There'll be a new walkway between this and Block 3, where the usual bits are, and on the ground floor there are 9 3-bed, 4 2-bed and 2 1-bed dwellings, of which will all not be accessed by interior hallways, instead having their own front doors on all sides of the building. There'll also be a stair and lift well for the car park on the ground floor, with a door opening out next to the bus stop. The first floor, which confusingly is the new surface level for most of the building, will have near the same amount of dwellings, with 1 extra 2-bed and a commercial unit facing the new Boulevard. I'll talk about the Boulevard in a bit, along with a large colonnade. The next 2 floors are the same, 1 3-bed, 11 two-bed and 7 one-bed dwellings, making a total of 69 units, don't laugh, and 140 beds. As you can see, there is a small courtyard behind this block as well, covering the roof of the multi-storey. And again, the exterior is similar to what we've seen before, with this section facing the join between the new Boulevard and Station Road having a flat roof and a curved facade. This isn't going to get any easier to explain, but on the right-hand side we have Block 1. So the ground floor of this unit will be the ground floor of the multi-storey car park. Goodbye Conways, and hello a new commercial unit. It's alright. This commercial unit will stretch with a very high ceiling up to the second floor of the car park. So, the first floor at the height of the boulevard will have 3 commercial units that again could be split, and one with the provision to be linked by a stairwell and lift down to the one at the bottom of station approach. And then the usual residential lobby stuff again. And onto the second floor, 2 3-bed, 5 2-bed and 8 1-bed dwellings, which repeats to the top floor with a total of 30 units and 48 beds. The exterior of Block 1 includes the other copper-style facade and large arches on the top mimicking many of our iconic buildings. The rest includes the standard flat face, which we've seen before, and then also a little bit here, which is labelled as brickwork detail on these sort of black and white sections. So, this new boulevard then, it'll be a new pedestrian right-of-way, starting right up at the top by the station and making its way all the way down towards the Springs High Street. And right up at its highest point, flanked by the 2 blocks we have just talked about, is a new square called Civic Square. At least it was in the original plans. I don't know if they've changed the name at all. It's a green space once again, so self-explanatory, but I must point out the wall at the old second train station will be retained. And up next is blocks 10 and 11. Starting off at ground level inside the current shopping centre that being partially demolished, a new unit again, splittable, will be built where the current corner shop is now, and a new doorway to the shopping centre will be there too. Oh, and there will be public toilets located beside the new stair and lift well inside the shopping centre. The first floor will include a balcony-style level with a few steps up to the boulevard, of course connected by that lift, with 2 new commercial units. The second floor has direct access to the Civic Square and Station Road level, including a community space and a second commercial/community unit with another set of public toilets by the lift. This could potentially be the location of the new museum and art gallery. And then the next 2 floors have 8 one-bed units, each making them 16 units and 16 beds. And beside this is the lift and stairwell that extends another floor up to 6 stories above its lowest point, the highest point in all of the development project, to provide a viewing platform across Buxton that is publicly accessible and, of course, with lift access. Nothing too much to talk about the whole exterior look of the building, but the columnade shown for the potential museum floor will also have a roof stretching across Block 2, making a continuous covered section, which in Buxton is needed. Finally, we reach Block 9, the last new build for the project, just across the way on the other side of the boulevard. And that's the side with nationwide and new look at the moment. The ground floor here has the largest splittable commercial space on the project, further residential lobby bits, and a second substation site around the back. A large colonnade covers the front of the units once again, which on the first floor becomes private terraces for the 7 2-bed and 2 1-bed dwellings. The next 3 floors feature the same layout, just without the terraces, some having large balconies instead. So in total, 32 units and 56 beds. And on the outside, very similar to what we've seen elsewhere, this time with 3-storey dormers and of course that huge terrace over the shops below. Right then, one more building to cover, and that's Windsor Place. Rather annoyingly, this building seems to be left out of all the planning documents. There might be a few reasons behind that. It might be just because it's a refurbishment project, it needs a different planning permission and that's just not public yet. Or that it could be doing something related and it's just not publicly disclosed. Now, I'm secretly hoping, because we've seen a lot of changes on site comparatively to when we saw the concept art, that perhaps, because the museum didn't seem to be in a bigger home as first advertised, at least what I saw, maybe Windsor Place is its new home.
I might just be getting my hopes up because I think it's the perfect candidate for the museum. I've mentioned this even before the concept arts came to light. But I do have to mention, all the way through the concept phase, Windsor Place has been an apartment building, so come to expect that. This is just me being hopeful here. Nonetheless, it's part of the project as it's labelled in the brief and features throughout, so it will be refurbished. And here is the minimal exterior work that has been planned, basically fixing and improving the windows and storefronts.
Oh, and one last thing to mention. This building on the plans is known as Block 12, and unfortunately it's due to be demolished. Which it will be a shame to see it go. It's a very characterful little building. However, it's demolishing itself at the moment. It is falling apart. In its place, there will be a similar structure in that kind of limestone design that we've seen repeated throughout the project, and it will be the project's third substation.
So, if I counted right, across the project we're looking at 328 new dwellings, totalling 549 beds. But of course we take that with a pinch of salt because I wrote this script at 2 o'clock in the morning. But with that being said, here's some overview angles of the site from different directions like Station Road and a cross section of each side of the Boulevard. Well done, you've made it to the end of the plans. Now I want to add some important notes at the end here. This project since day one has been about adding tax revenue to a brownfield site that currently brings in very little. From this development, we'll see new residential units that will put the High Peak closer to its target for new homes given by the government, meaning they're not as pressured to build homes on green land such as Hogshaw. We shall also be getting a smidge more commercial space, but far more modern and fully flexible, rented out by professionals in the industry, so hopefully lower rents, and a more encouraging retail environment for big names and local companies to move in. 2 new landscaped public areas, 2 public loos, new step-free access from the station into the Springs, with a big improvement for railway users, and the potential for a new home for the museum, along with a viewpoint. The car parking will see a fracture as 200 spaces are moved slightly further away. Not really ideal for the people shopping at Waitrose, but any other case, I suppose it's not the end of the world. In my opinion, it's only really the same as parking on Bridge Street and walking now. I have my concerns with the museum in particular, but overall I don't believe this is overdevelopment or Capital Centric using our town. Although I do believe that they should help fund this new station car park. I personally like the contrast in the architecture and it doesn't distract from what we have. And it's a damn sight better than this.
Well, that's it. Personally, I'm very excited to see this development go through. I've seen a lot of Capital Centric stuff across the north, and they're all in very good nick, very tasteful, and when they do have older buildings, they're looked after very well and refurbished to a high standard. And really, at the moment, the site is a very wasteful and expensive car park with an eyesore of a shopping centre right in the middle. So any redevelopment project I welcome for that site. And I just want to say something before I pack my camera away, but this is probably the most complex video I've ever had to make. It was well over 3,000 words long. There was a lot that I wanted to cover to make sure that people in Buxton know what we're getting into. So with that being said, please share it if you can. It'll be very much appreciated so everyone in Buxton can have a chance to see what this is going to be like before it gets approved or denied, etc. With that being said, thank you very much for watching. A huge thank you to all my supporters on Ko-fi. And until next time, ta-ra.